Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market. First up, the United States. Silver Washington Quarter. Dollar. 1965 is a coin with a compelling history and a notable distinction from other quarters that came before it. This coin stands as a significant marker in the history of American currency. It was released during a pivotal year for the U.S. economy, just as the country was experiencing a transition in its coinage. For collectors and numismatists, the 1965 Washington Quarter is a crucial part of the coin's historical evolution, specifically due to the changes brought about by the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from most circulating coins. In terms of its design, the 1965 Silver Washington Quarter retains the classic profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, as designed by John Flanagan. His iconic bust of Washington is featured on the obverse, while the reverse depicts a traditional eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. However, the 1965 Washington Quarter also marked a significant departure from previous versions of the coin. Prior to 1965, quarters contained 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices and a coin shortage, the U.S. Mint made the decision to remove silver from circulating coins, including the Washington Quarter. This decision resulted in the creation of a new version of the coin, one that was made primarily of copper and nickel, with only a small percentage of silver. The 1965 Washington Quarter, along with the quarters from 1965, 1966, and 1967, are made from a clad composition, which consists of a core of copper-nickel and outer layers of pure copper. While this new composition significantly lowered the intrinsic value of the coin, it also led to the development of a specific and sought-after subset, the 1965 Washington Quarter in circulated condition without a mint mark. One of the most notable features of this particular coin is the large date. The large date variety of the 1965 Washington Quarter is a distinctive feature that sets it apart from other quarters minted that year. The large date version is often more easily identified by the size and positioning of the numbers, making it a particularly interesting coin for collectors seeking variety in their collections. Interestingly, this particular version was produced in significant numbers, but due to the mass production of the 1965 coins, finding one in circulated condition with its original shine and luster is a rarity. As a result, the 1965 Silver Washington Quarter with the large date in circulated condition has grown in value. In terms of mintage, the 1965 Washington Quarter was produced in large quantities due to the government's need to produce coinage in large numbers to meet the demands of the population. However, despite the high mintage numbers, the significance of the coin lies in its place in U.S. numismatic history. The 1965 Washington Quarter was the last of its kind to be made of silver, marking a crucial moment in the history of U.S. currency. When it comes to the market value of the 1965 Silver Washington Quarter in circulated condition, collectors have shown a great deal of interest in this coin over the years. This interest has only grown in recent decades as the rarity of the coin becomes more apparent. The fact that this coin was part of the last batch of silver quarters before the change to clad coins, combined with its distinctive large date variety, gives it a special place in the hearts of collectors and investors alike. As of today, the 1965 Washington Quarter, with the large date and no mint mark, can fetch prices in the range of several $30,000 to $78,000 at auction, depending on the condition and any unique characteristics the coin may have. While coins in circulated condition may not fetch as high a price as those in mint or uncirculated condition, they still command a significant value due to the limited number of well-preserved examples that remain. Moreover, the market for 1965 Washington Quarters has experienced fluctuations, but overall, the trend has been upwards, as more and more collectors seek to add this piece of American history to their collections. The coin's appeal lies not only in its silver content, but in the history it represents and the rarity of well-preserved examples. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a novice looking to start your collection, the 1965 Washington quarter is a coin that should not be overlooked. Now, let's take a look at another fascinating and highly valuable piece of U.S. currency, the 1985 silver Washington quarter dollar with the P error mint mark. This coin is one of the most intriguing errors in modern U.S. coinage, and its market value has skyrocketed in recent years as collectors have come to recognize its rarity and significance. The story of this coin begins with a simple mistake at the U.S. Mint, but its value and collector interest have grown into something much larger than the initial error itself. The 1985 Washington quarter was part of a series of coins minted during the mid-1980s, a period that saw the continued production of clad coins and a focus on maintaining the integrity of U.S. currency. However, the 1985 Washington quarter became notorious for its unique error: the inclusion of the P mint mark on a coin that was not supposed to have one. The P mint mark, representing the Philadelphia Mint, was intended for only certain coins, and its appearance on a Washington quarter was an unexpected anomaly. The fact that the mint mark was included on a coin that was supposed to be minted without it turned this coin into a highly sought-after error piece. The error occurred during the production process, and it is believed that a coin from the Philadelphia Mint was mistakenly pressed with a die that had the P mint mark, which was used for coins minted at the Philadelphia facility. This small oversight led to the creation of a coin that was meant to be produced without a mint mark, but with the addition of the P, making it an error that collectors have eagerly pursued for decades. One of the unique features of the 1985 Washington quarter with the P error mint mark is its condition. This particular example is in a red, rusty color, a feature that sets it apart from other error coins. The color change can be attributed to exposure to environmental factors, which have caused the coin to develop an oxidized appearance. While this might not be ideal for some collectors, for others, it adds an extra layer of character and authenticity to the coin, making it even more desirable. In terms of design, the 1985 Washington quarter retains the same basic design features as other quarters from the series. The obverse features the bust of George Washington, and the reverse showcases an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch. However, the presence of the P mint mark on the coin's reverse side makes this particular example stand out as an error coin, and that's where its appeal truly lies. For numismatists, error coins like these are prized for their rarity and the story behind their creation. The 1985 Washington quarter with the P error mint mark is no exception. The market for error coins has always been strong, and the 1985 silver Washington quarter with the P error mint mark is no exception. Over the years, the value of this coin has appreciated, particularly as more collectors have become aware of its existence and its significance. Today, this coin can fetch significant prices, particularly when it is found in a state of good condition, even with the red rusty discoloration. Auction prices for the 1985 Washington quarter with the P error mint mark have ranged from hundreds of dollars to several $1,000s, depending on the specific condition and the extent of the error. The red rusty color does affect the value to some degree, but collectors who appreciate error coins often find these characteristics more fascinating than detracting from the coin's overall worth. Additionally, the scarcity of such coins on the market today only adds to the allure, as they are relatively rare and difficult to find. Next up, let's talk about the 1970 Washington quarter dollar with a large date, no mint mark, in good condition. This is one of the most expensive silver Washington quarters you'll find on the market today. The Washington quarter dollar was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Over the decades, this coin has seen several design changes, but the Washington image has remained a symbol of American history and patriotism. The coin's obverse features a portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, while the reverse shows an eagle perched on a branch with the words E pluribus unum and United States of America around it. This design has endured, making the Washington quarter one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics. But let's focus on the 1970 Washington quarter, specifically the large date variety. In 1970, the United States Mint made a significant change in the design of the date on the coin. The digits on the 1970 quarter were made larger compared to earlier years, which led to the introduction of the large date variety. This shift was subtle but significant enough to be noticed by collectors and investors, which later increased its value on the market. Now, you might be wondering, why is the 1970 large date Washington quarter without a mint mark such a highly prized coin? Well, a few factors play into this, including its mintage and the current market value. The 1970 Washington quarter, in general, had a large mintage of about 175 million coins. However, coins from this era in good condition, especially without a mint mark, are rarer than you might expect. The absence of a mint mark is a key feature that elevates the value of this coin in the eyes of collectors. Without a mint mark, this 1970 quarter would have been minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which typically did not place mint marks on coins. This makes the coin distinctive, as many collectors focus on identifying coins from the different mints, and a coin without a mint mark is often more difficult to find in good condition. In fact, the 1970 large date Washington quarter, in good condition, has been fetching impressive prices at auction. The market value of this quarter can fluctuate depending on its condition, but in good condition, it typically ranges from 20,000 to 50,000 US dollars, depending on auction dynamics and demand. Coins that are in better condition, like very fine or extremely fine, can see prices soar higher. Some examples of this quarter in uncirculated condition have gone for several $100s, especially those with pristine luster and sharp details. As such, the 1970 Washington quarter with the large date is a highly collectible coin. But it's not just about the monetary value. There is a deep historical and numismatic appeal to this coin as well. It represents an era in American history, and Washington's legacy continues to resonate with collectors and investors alike. The quarter itself is a reminder of a turning point in the U.S. Mint's coin production, where small design changes began to make significant impacts on the collector market. Moreover, the 1970 large date Washington quarter without mint mark continues to garner interest among collectors who specialize in varieties and errors. Its collector interest is driven by the desire to find specimens that are unique, with certain characteristics that make them stand out. Whether it's the large date or the lack of mint mark, these traits ensure that this coin is a mainstay in any serious collection. Moving on to our next coin, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar, with a large date and D-mint mark error. This coin is another example of how small errors in the minting process can create a huge collector interest and boost a coin's market value. The 1980 Washington quarter had a mintage of around 225 million coins, so it may seem that these coins are relatively common. However, it's not the standard 1980 Washington quarter we're focusing on. It's the one with a large date and a D-mint mark error. Let's first talk about the design features of the 1980 Washington quarter. The obverse features George Washington's profile, and the reverse, as always, showcases the eagle. The design itself didn't change much from the previous years, continuing the tradition that had started in 1932. But collectors began noticing that the date on the 1980 quarters was larger than usual, leading to the term large date for the variety. However, the most notable aspect of this particular coin is the D-mint mark error. As you might know, the Denver Mint typically placed the D-mint mark on quarters struck at that mint, but in 1980, there was an error in the production process. Some coins that were intended to have the D-mint mark ended up being struck without it, and vice versa. These minting mistakes are the main driver of value for this coin. The large date with a D-mint mark error is a rare variety that intrigues both novice and seasoned collectors. The fact that the mint made an error and produced a coin with a mint mark that wasn't where it was supposed to be makes this coin a piece of history. This error coin can sometimes fetch prices significantly higher than standard 1980 quarters, with very fine condition specimens commonly selling for anywhere between 70,000 to 100,000 USD or more. The market value can skyrocket, especially when the coin is in mint or uncirculated condition. This coin is also a prime example of how error coins play a significant role in the collecting world. Errors are often highly sought after because they are rare, and the circumstances surrounding their creation are intriguing. For collectors, there's an added thrill to owning a coin with an error, as it tells a unique story of the minting process. What makes the 1980 large date with D-mint mark error even more attractive is the fact that these errors are not always obvious at first glance. In many cases, the error is subtle, requiring a keen eye to detect. This means that if you're out hunting for these rare quarters, you might stumble upon one without realizing its true value. Coins like these tend to surface at auctions or through private sales, where their true worth is recognized by people who specialize in error coins. The collector interest surrounding this coin is immense, with many individuals seeking to complete their Washington quarter collections with examples from each year, especially those with errors. The 1980 D mint mark error is just one of many minting mistakes that have occurred over the years, but it's certainly one of the most fascinating because it represents the artistry and precision or lack thereof behind the minting process. Given its rarity and the collector's demand for error coins, the 1980 Washington quarter is expected to appreciate in value as time goes on. Investors see these types of coins as sound assets, especially if they are well preserved and show little wear. The market for error coins continues to expand, and the 1980 large date with D mint mark error is positioned to remain a key piece for anyone looking to invest in high-value U.S. quarters. Our next coin for discussion is the United States Silver Washington Quarter Dollar from 1977, a large date variant without any mint mark. This particular quarter has become a highly sought-after coin in today's auction market, with collectors and investors alike scrambling to get their hands on it. To fully understand why this coin commands such high value, let's first explore its background, the historical context surrounding it, and its key design features. The 1977 Washington Quarter Dollar features George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. This design has been the hallmark of the Washington Quarter series since its introduction in 1932. What makes this specific 1977 large date coin so intriguing, especially the version without a mint mark, is the subtle yet significant variations that occurred during its production year. While the mint mark itself can often provide information about the origin of the coin, some of the most valuable coins are those that are produced without one, either through minting errors or intentional design choices. In 1977, the U.S. Mint had started making use of more modern coin-producing techniques, and there was a shift in how the coins were designed. The large date feature of the 1977 Washington Quarter is one of the key elements that collectors pay close attention to. The numbers 1977 on the coin are larger than those on the quarters minted in other years, giving the coin a unique look. Interestingly, in the case of the 1977 quarter without a mint mark, it is likely that the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, where the majority of U.S. coins without mint marks were traditionally struck. When it comes to mintage numbers, the 1977 Washington Quarter is not considered particularly rare in the general sense. However, when looking at its value, it's important to consider its condition. In circulated condition, this coin doesn't typically command an outrageous price on its own. However, due to the popularity of Washington quarters and the large date variety, it can still fetch a reasonable sum at auction, especially if it's in above-average condition for its age. Its value is generally determined by the wear and tear it has experienced, with coins in better condition earning a premium. Market demand for this coin has increased in recent years, and collectors are showing a keen interest in coins that showcase unique features or slight variations like the 1977 large date without a mint mark. The market value of this coin can fluctuate depending on factors like its condition, rarity, and current collector trends, but it is not uncommon for well-maintained examples of the 1977 large date to see prices in the $25,000 to $40,000 range in circulated condition. Collectors are particularly interested in the 1977 Washington Quarter because of its connection to the broader history of U.S. coinage during the mid-1970s. The quarter series itself has undergone many changes over the years, but the large date variety of the 1977 coin represents a fascinating chapter in this ongoing evolution. Coin enthusiasts also appreciate the simplicity and elegance of the Washington Quarter design, making this coin a beloved choice for many in the numismatic community. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into these valuable coins and want to learn more about rare and collectible pieces, be sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more content from Valuable Coins.